Hello everyone, my name is Anna from Anna K Cards, and today I'm going to give you tips, techniques, and the products I use to make this most adorable teddy bear bouquet card. And I love using products from different companies and combining them together to make one card. And then I also love making my own backgrounds. So for this background, I knew I wanted to stencil and I wanted a blue background. So I started with blue cardstock. And then I used my Altenew crisp dye inks, and it comes with 4 different shades, and I used the stencil by Pretty Pink Posh, and it's a 2-layered stencil. So for the first layer is these dashed lines. So I started with a lighter color. I started with the turquoise, and I shaded on top of a blue cardstock with the turquoise with a blender brush. And then I took a different color, the Tide ink, because I wanted the hearts to pop out. So I used a blender brush with the Tide blue darker ink, and so the hearts were able to pop out. And then on top of the blue colored cardstock, I went ahead with Sea Breeze, and I took a blender brush and blended Sea Breeze on top just to change the background of the blue cards, just to change the color of the blue cardstock. And then I wanted to add more texture to the background, so I wanted to add some splattering. So what I did was I used this Distress Spray Stain, and instead of just spraying, so this is another tip, instead of just spraying, I went ahead and just used the, undid the nozzle and just used the tubing and just tapped it onto the card it gave it more control and very fine splatters all over the background, and I like that look that it gave. Then I used the Gina K Designs border die, and it has little hearts in it, and I went kind of with the theme with the heart stencil and this heart die, which I'll get to in a minute. And so this border had little hearts in it, and I did use the same blue colored cardstock that I used on the panel here, and I shaded it in with a darker Tide blue. And to make it go with the background more, I also splattered it with the Distress Spray Stain as well. So for this sentiment die here that says I heart you, and I like this because I didn't have to add a separate sentiment strip to this card. I let this die be the sentiment. So that's another tip. Some dies you can use as sentiments. And this die is from Penny Black. It's her creative dies, and this is what the die looks like. I heart you. And what I did was you could use white cardstock to cut this die out and shade it with dye inks or Distress Oxide inks, whatever inks you have. You can shade it whatever color you want. But I decided to use just a red colored cardstock. But in order to make it blend more with the background, to vibe more with the background, I also splattered it with the Distress Spray Stain as well. You can see here it's a little bit splattered, and the background comes together. I like that look. But also what you could do, a tip would be, if you really want to add even more dimension to this card, you can die cut this die multiple times in red or white and stack it on top of each other. So it really gives, and you just stack them and glue them and stack them together, and it really gives you more dimension to this die. But I decided just to do 1 layer here on this card. Then what I did was I used this most adorable teddy bear bouquet stamp, and I stamped with Versamark ink. I stamped with the VersaFine clear ink, the black one, and I heat embossed it with clear embossing powder just to give it some shine. And also I knew I wanted to do alcohol ink coloring, and I didn't want the black ink to bleed into the image. So the image is also from Penny Black, and it also comes the bear stamp, and the bear stamp also comes with a die. So you can die cut out the image once you're done coloring it. So I knew I wanted to use Ola markers, and another tip for using Ola markers or any alcohol inks when you color, try to find out what kind of paper to use with that specific brand, whether it's Copic, Spectrum Noir, or Olo. So Olo, they recommended using this blending card. It's called by Express It. And so I did try to do that this time. So I got the Express It and I use my Olo markers, and it really works really well. I really love how the Olo markers blend on the Express It cardstock. I highly recommend that. And what I also like about Olo markers is that you can combine two different shades of the same color and make one pen. And that way, when you're shading, you can just use the darker color, then turn it over, use the lighter color, and go back and forth, get a medium one. So it comes separate. You can buy all the colors separately, just like this, and this is how you will get it. And then you just screw this on one, like this, you screw them together, and then you have one marker, but you have different shades of the same color. And I really love that about the Olo markers. Then what I did was I used yellow cardstock, a colored cardstock, and I die cut out these butterflies from a very old die I've had for a long time by Simon Says Stamp. And I love how small and different sizes these butterflies are, the flickering butterflies. And then I just wanted to change the color of the yellow to go more with the darker shades that I have here in my images. So I just used the I used another dye ink, and I just used my blender brush and colored over the yellow so that it just gave a different shade. I used the Honey Drizzle with the Altenews Crisp dye ink to shade in. And then I added these gems by Studio Katia. I added these gems into the middle of the butterfly. And one other tip I wanted to give was that because I felt like the sentiment die, I Heart You, was good, and I didn't need to add another sentiment. What I could do was, what I'm planning to do is to go ahead and on the inside of the card, the die cuts, so when you cut the die out, the heart inside cuts out as a solid heart. So I thought to make this very cohesive is I will put this heart in the middle, and I thought this would be the most adorable Mother's Day card. So I have a sentiment strip here that I stamped that says Happy Mother's Day, and I can put it across here in the middle of the heart, put it inside the card, making it's very cohesive and a Happy Mother's Day card. Of course, it could be thank you, you can put any type of sentiment. This is for this card. Thanks for joining me on finding out how I created this card, and I hope everyone has a great day. Bye.